I like talking to Kyrie. He's really, really interesting.
Right.
But you're not going to try to change his mind.
Yeah.
And once you realize that and just say, Kyrie, you'd be you. You just play basketball. But I'm not going to lie. And I told him this. I'm like, look, you bounce from team to team. And that, what followed you wasn't good.
Tickets are on sale for KFC Radio Live. Click the link in the bio. Get yours. Come out and hang with the boys.
Who's your partner in crime?
Jet setting to Italy.
What?
So he got offered do you know the shoe company Del Toro? They make the leather loafers that he's been wearing. And they reached out to him and said, they're doing like a fashion show in Italy. You want to come?
Fashion show?
Yeah.
Oh my
which
God,
I'm
always sunk.
I'm telling. He's the type. It was yesterday at like 3:00. He was flying out at 10, and he was like, I gotta go pack. I was like, that
I'm
sounds
going to
right.
Abu Dhabi for 10 days, and I leave on Saturday. I haven't packed yet either.
Really?
No, hell no.
I feel like for you, I actually don't get all the hype. Like you're not packed yet. It's like, I don't know. I'm gonna go home, throw
It's
a bunch
the
of
same
shit in the
I
bag
know
and
where it is.
go.
It's in my closet. I know the bag I'm taking, right?
Yeah.
I wear the same shit, right? I'm going to take 3 of these same colored jeans. I'm going to take T-shirts. I'm going to take workout gear and one suit.
That's
Done.
it. You're done.
Done.
I've noticed that about myself too. Do we have the peach one?
Yeah, we got peach.
All right, nice.
What? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Peach
mango,
mango? Oh, if it's not, is it
Yeah,
zero? Okay, yeah.
yeah, it's a
Yeah,
5.
that's the
Yeah.
one. There you go.
Yeah, so I live off of these because it's got potassium. You got to get your potassium.
Yeah. We are a full body armor company here, so.
Yeah, I know.
Is that the right one?
Yeah, for sure.
Let's go. I love it. I found I'm like I get, the jeans I like, the sweats I like, and the nice pants. Like I just wear those. You know what I mean?
Look,
like as I've gotten more money, as I've gotten older, as my style has changed, I'll buy more shit, but I just end up wearing the
same
things
shit.
I like.
Right.
Yeah.
I wrote a blog post 15 years ago saying, why the fuck people wear suits? There's
Love that.
nothing dumber in the entire universe than, first of all, putting on a
the
tie.
tie. Who like the first asshole to be like, okay, and now you're
Go
not
down the
taken
history of
seriously.
being an asshole,
Yes.
right?
Same thing, high heels for girls, all these things that are like,
Why?
somebody decided that you got to torture yourself physically or look goofy, and that if you don't do that, you're somehow lesser than.
No, what's
or
even
dumb
worse
or-
is the person who said, "Oh, you look good in that tie." Because
Yes,
in their mind, they're thinking, "Fuck
Right.
you," right?
You know what? One of my favorite things, whenever you see old pictures from a baseball game,
with the hats and the suits and everything.
everybody in
It's
the crowd in a
insane.
suit.
It's
I'm like,
insane,
you're kidding
right?
me? You go to an NFL game today,
Why
you
do you wear-
see
like
anybody in
now-
a suit.
Now we've convinced ourselves, "Oh, I look good in a suit."
Yeah.
Right? I
Well,
look
do you
good.
think there's some truth to that though? Like when you put on
Well,
a
but
nice
but-
suit, don't you feel like you look good?
Right, but that's what you've been conditioned.
It's just
to
in our
think.
head,
right?
yeah.
Because it hides everything,
Right,
You know,
right,
whereas but I'd rather just be comfortable.
Yeah.
because I look good in anything.
Did you reach a point where, I mean, there was probably a time in your life where you had to dress to impress,
yeah, of
right?
course, yeah.
But then when you reach a certain status, wealth, ownership, whatever,
When I
were you
sold my
just like,
company.
fuck it?
Right.
Yeah.
So like my first 2 suits I bought when I got to Dallas and had to wear a suit were 2 for $99.
Wow.
This first nice suit I bought used at a place called Rethreads.
Okay.
And the first polos I got, polo shirts, dress polo shirts, were all used. And the first real polo, well, not real, but the first like Ralph Lauren logo polos were fake. My buddies would bring them in, and they were $8 a piece. So I didn't like have a brand new suit that I wore that was legit till I was 26, 27 years old.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow. And when did you sell your company?
When I was,
How old were you?
I was 30. Yeah,
Shit.
just turned 30. Yeah.
Man, you did it young, huh?
Yeah.
God. That is wild to think about, though. I mean, the
It was great. I mean, I bought a lifetime pass on American Airlines.
yeah.
Just
Oh, that's
party like
right.
a
You were
rock
telling us
star.
that the last time.
Yeah,
You were
just
just
party
bouncing
like a
around the
rock
world.
star.
Yep.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, no complaints.
So I started Barstool New York in 2009.
Mm-hmm.
So Dave started the whole thing in 04. And then he conquered Boston, and he was like, I want to expand.
And that's when it blew up. Yeah.
Right. And I was the first guy outside of Boston. I started the New York website and started parties here, and then everybody moved here. So I was one of the early, 3 or 4 guys that got equity. And
So you're a smiling camper.
So I just cashed in.
Yeah,
And
best day ever, isn't it?
yeah. Oh man, brother. It was so, and Dave obviously
Yeah,
and rightfully so. He had
yeah.
all the money for a long time, and we had to wait for a lot of shit to vest.
Yep.
So I was sitting there. I'm going through a divorce. I got 2 kids. I'm on my own. I'm like still paying my bills and drowning. And then it was just like I circled it on the calendar, and I got there. And
how long ago was that?
It was last year was the first bit, and then recently. So I finally as of a month ago, everything.
April. You're going to be freaked the fuck out.
Yeah.
Right? Because you got to pay your taxes.
Yes.
Right. And so you're going to think of every angle you can think of. And I'm just going to tell you, be a good American citizen.
And pay those taxes.
Because there's nothing, the best, worst feeling in the world is writing that check. And trust you, Dave will tell you, I've been through it. Like, oh, fuck. Right? Look how big this motherfucking check is. And then you realize, oh, fuck. Okay, there's a reason for this, right?
Yeah.
And like I wrote talk about going back to my old blog. It's just like I wrote a blog post saying after military service, the most patriotic thing you can do is pay your taxes.
But I agree with the sentiment behind it, but I feel like we get taxed a fucking lot.
Tell me about
it. And it's
right?
like, and I know, it's the best country, and I'm happy to be here. But sometimes I'm like, do you need all that?
Spend the money right? That's a different beast,
right?
Should we kick out all the politicians on both sides?
Right.
Fuck yeah, start all over again. Right?
Yeah. That part of the system.
Different animal, right?
Yes.
But when it's all said and done, we got to pay for it one way or the other.
Sure.
And you should try to change it for sure.
Right.
Don't accept it, but also don't be the douchebag that says no. I'm going to cheat on my taxes, and then you end up going to jail or getting fined. Other stuff.
Yeah.
Not accept the fact that I tried to just tell myself, look, I don't get to be the richer than I ever possibly dreamed of, unless I have this amazing country available to me.
Sure.
Doesn't mean
and that's kind of the price of doing business, right?
Yeah, right. And it doesn't mean there's not a lot of fucked up things, a lot of fucked up taxes, a lot of wasted money.
Right.
But that's you can run for office, you can vote for office, right? You do your shit.
Right. So you started your own companies. That was your worth, right? And then I was sitting down with my financial advisors the other day, and I'm a pretty risk averse guy. I'm not a gambler. I'm not, as of right now, I just put in like some bonds, and I'm just playing safe. But I'm also like, I hear the stories of the guy. In my mind, this was like the end goal was this equity, and I'm like, wait a minute, no, this is the beginning. I should now try to go make more.
Depends on you.
And I'm thinking of like, you hear the story about the guy who like made his first $1 million and he turned it into like $1 billion. Yeah,
but you don't hear the story about the guy who made his first $1 million and lost it.
Right.
And the 90% of guys, who won the lottery or made the first $1 million and then it was gone. Like when I sold my first company, I made $2.5 million. And like I said, I'm just turning 30, and I told my guy I want to invest like a 65-year-old man, right? Because I can live like a student.
Yep.
I just want to be able to live off the interest and just chill. And he goes, no, don't do that. So I started investing and did well, but I only invested in shit that I knew. Like I was investing in technology stocks because that's what my company did. We did technology. So I had an edge.
Right.
But actually it was easier back then than it is now because there's so much money in the markets. And plus interest rates are higher than 5%.
Right.
So you can just take your, in a money market and take your 5.5 or 5.3, whatever it is, and just like sleep well at night.
Dude, I remember when Dave first got his money, and we got on our show, our daily rundown show, and he goes, do you guys know about interest? And I always made fun of him for that. But then when I got a little bit of money, I knew about interest, but when I saw the number, I was like, holy shit, interest is pretty cool.
If you can live off the interest, you're living right?
But so like, you think it's those guys who turn it into $1 billion? Is it luck? Is it an edge? Yeah.
Well, okay. First, to be a billionaire, it's got to be luck.
Really?
100% has to be luck.
Interesting.
Right? Because, we started the streaming business. That's where I made my big hit, right? Starting, no one streamed, and then we started streaming, and then went public, blew it up, et cetera, sold it. But if I had been born 3 years earlier or 3 years later, or the internet stock market boom hadn't happened, you wouldn't know my name.
Right.
I would not be sitting here. Right. Just like they say, Wayne Gretzky, if, the hockey rules hadn't changed at the right time.
Yeah. He wouldn't have been Wayne Gretzky.
Right. Steph Curry wouldn't be Steph Curry. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, he would be, but he wouldn't be.
Right. We had Darius Rucker in here a couple weeks ago, and he said David Letterman was driving on the road, and like Z100 or whoever just played one song, and he liked it, and he called them up and said, have these guys on on Monday. They were the biggest band like in the country, and we were saying like if he drove through a tunnel and lost radio reception,
and hadn't heard that song,
if he turned on a different station,
bam,
and those guys, and you like you said, they probably would have still made it, but were they?
Yeah, they were in South Carolina doing their thing, right? And Hootie's Loving Life, and but there's a scale, right? There's a lot of really good bands out there
that don't ever,
that don't hit that boom, and so like you gotta like look at your own personal finances. What do you need to live, right? The less you need to live, then the easier it is to invest. So you can have that extra car, or you can put that 100 grand or 50 grand, whatever it is, into a mutual fund, a low cost SPX mutual fund, and that's your choice.
Right.
Like when I first got paid, it was like lifetime pass. I don't need another car, don't need a house, right? Then when I, had a B next to my name, it's just a plane. That's what I wanted, right?
Yep.
And then it was a sports team, but then everything else, I didn't have to push for more. Right. Yeah. I know that sounds bizarro, right?
No, but I get that. I mean, what I'm just learning is like, to be fully honest, like my life really hasn't changed. Like, I mean, I got a house, and then I was toiling around in shitty apartments. I got a house for my kids. I'm gonna put money aside for them. They're young, so nothing necessary yet.
Get the 509, right?
Yeah, all that stuff. But like my day to day, I kind of in a way I'm like I made it and I'm happy. But there's part of me that's like, huh. All right, I thought it was going to be like some amazing change, and it really wasn't.
The weirder part isn't you; it's your friends, and
your
family, right?
Yeah.
Because we all visualize what would it be like if I had $1 million, then 5 million. Fuck you money, right?
Yeah.
What is fuck you money? I want fuck you money, fuck you, right? And then you get there, and you can do shit, right? So when you first get the fuck you money, where you don't have to worry about your bills, and you can buy the house, right? Then you can say, okay, let's go to Vegas. Right. And instead of betting $5, I'm gonna bet 25 or 100. Right. And then you start thinking, well, can I do something bigger? And then I can't afford that shit. And once you got to that point where I don't, the shit you really can't afford, you just start ignoring, you're just back to your life.
Right. Yeah. It's like certain things.
There's no butlers. There's no
driver. Yeah. You think it's going to be like some lavish life. And it's like, there's certain things that money can't buy and certain problems money can't fix that still is a headache for me. And it's just like...
If you were happy when you were poor, you're going to be really happy when you're motherfucking rich.
Yeah.
If you were miserable when you were poor,
you're still going to
You're going to feel a little better.
Yeah, it'll be a little bit more secure, but...
Right, more secure, less stress. But you're still going to be one of those, soury dickheads, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You'll still be a sour dick.
Well, and it's not that I was miserable, but one of the guys here was writing a blog yesterday. We're about to do this Survivor here at Barstool. Have you heard about this? So... for the last couple of years, we basically mimicked Survivor, the game show, in the office. You got to stay in here 24 hours a day. You do a couple challenges like, backyard games, and then you have alliances and you vote. And we did it all with like the younger kids and the new guys coming up. This time, it's all the all-stars. 100 grand prize. Me, Dave, Big Cat, like 15 of like the OGs and the crazy people.
OGs going Survivor.
So starting in October.
You all are going to quit, right?
Yeah.
Initially, because that's the difference with the money, right?
Well, so that's what's funny is like there's 100 grand on the line, and I'm still in no position to turn my nose up at 100 grand. But also,
nobody is, by the way.
But if I'm being honest, and I don't want to sound like a dick, but it won't change my life one way or the other.
Well, yeah, and you don't want to go through shit for it. You don't want to go through shit.
I told him, I'm like, if you're gonna tell me to eat maggots, I'm not doing it. I'm just gonna say no. You'll just kick me out.
You want me to, hoop for 24 straight hours? Great, let's go.
Sure, anything that, yeah.
You want me to do some shit that I don't want to do? Fuck you. Get out of my face.
That maybe is what it is the ability at any moment to say I don't need that or don't need you, and maybe having
you wanted
that like
to say no to that anyways, right?
Yeah.
So even if you were just cranking along in your 9 to 5 and making a decent living, being able to save a little money, you'd probably do the same thing anyways, right? Because that's just not you,
right?
As opposed to fuck, I need this, right?
Yeah.
Maggots, bring it, right? Shit, bring it, right? What was the show that Rogan did?
Fear Factor.
Fear Factor, yeah.
Dude, do you remember what they got kicked off the air for? The final straw. They gave those contestants like pint glasses of, I think it was goat semen.
Ow!
And
who would say no to that?
And they were guzzling it down. And I was like, I don't care if I was like on life support.
No, but let me just tell you. If it was from an animal, because we fucking eat animals.
Yeah,
we eat their shit, right? If it's from a human, no
way. Give me the goat, but not the man. Yeah.
Goat semen, sure. That's like milk, right? Shit. Where the fuck does milk come from a cow? Right out its dick, right? So you're worried about goat semen? What's the difference between piss and dick? I don't know. telling me
that on a quote.
You're telling me you can tell by looking whether it's semen or piss from a goat or a cow? Hell no. You're just like pasteurize. Yeah, it was up to here, right?
That was the final straw. I think they were like, oh, we got to pull back on this. But hey, I mean, there was a market for it. People wanted
and
to
it made Joe Rogan, right?
Yeah, I mean, to talk about, right place, right time for a guy. If MMA doesn't come at the same time, he's coming up and all those things. Even us,
but
he
earned it, true. Like you guys too, right? There's a lot of people who try to do what you did, right, before and after.
Totally.
Right? Dave
was the right age, right time. Tom Brady rises to prominence. Boston wins all those championships. Yep. He's got some money to expand. It's just like everything. And like you said earlier, just the internet being the right time. If it was 10 years earlier, 10 years later.
But to your credit, like a big part of that is just not fucking it up.
Yeah.
Right? You may not know exactly what to do, but as you feel your way through, either you have the feel for it or you don't.
Right.
It's like making movies or making music. Some people got the feel. Mm-hmm. Some people are more talented, but they don't have the feel to know what's going to work.
When you were getting into basketball as just a fan, you were like, I just want to own a team because I love hoops. Yeah,
my entire life.
Were you confident that like you knew the game well? Or you're just like, I want to own it and I'll put the right people in the right place?
No, I was like, fuck this. Our team sucks. Yeah. Right? I got all this money and what could be better? I play basketball every day anyways.
Yeah.
So now I get to play basketball with, NBA players and go into an arena and just before a game shoot, and be around the game.
I mean, you were like the dream that everybody wants to be, but also as a fan, for the longest time, I always said, I just want a Mark Cuban owner. I'm a Mets and Jets fan. I finally got one with Steve Cohen.
Yeah.
I just want a guy.
And even then, right, Stevie's spending all that money.
So fucking hard.
And it doesn't guarantee anything. It doesn't guarantee.
It's almost like, you look at the Yankees, Mets, and Padres, it's like, maybe this is a bad idea.
Well, yeah, it's like when I was looking at buying the Cubs and the Rangers, right? Thank God I didn't get them. It's too brutal. But
what makes you say that?
What's that?
What makes you say it'd be too brutal?
Because one team is enough emotionally.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not so much.
Right.
It's just the emotional. Yeah.
And baseball, man, it's a long. I mean, fans treat baseball games like there's NFL games, like it's every night. I'm agonizing over game 43 of the year.
I know someone stopped me on the street today. Hey, talk to my brother. He wants you to buy the Yankees.
Yeah,
I'm like, come on. But you get there and I didn't know what I was doing. I just wanted to be in it.
Yeah.
Right. It's just like, what do you want to do with it? Oh, shit. I never thought about owning a sports team. Who's going to have that kind of money? Mm-hmm. And then it was right there. I was the season ticket holder. They sucked. Nobody was doing anything. They had an owner that wasn't doing anything. I'm like, fuck, I can afford to do something. Let me put my money where my mouth is. And
what'd you buy them for?
$285.
Oh my God. Yeah. What's it like multi-billion now?
Yeah,
I'm sure.
yeah,
it's like a joke.
Yeah.
I feel like there was I remember, I think the Miami Heat one time, the Powerball was like 300 million. And the Heat were like valued at 300 million. Yeah. And me and my buddies were joking. If we hit Powerball, we're buying the Heat. But it seems like maybe was it television rights or going global? It seemed to go
global
exponential.
And television rights. That's because remember in 2010 we couldn't sell the Charlotte Hornets franchise.
Right.
The league had to take it over.
Right.
Remember that was the whole Chris Paul to the Lakers thing.
Yeah.
And the truth be told, I bitched out David Stern.
Really?
When that was going down. I'm like, because he had just told us the league was struggling, and he had just told us, we've got to be careful because we couldn't even sell this franchise. And then here he comes in and starts making these trades and shit. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? And he's like, shut the fuck up. I'm like,
Stern was I feel like one of the last OG commissioner guys, OG, right? So he was the type to be like, shut the fuck up, fuck you.
But,
I'm doing
he
my
used to
way.
tell me, I'm going to fine you. There's going to be things I disagree with you on, but keep on doing what you're doing.
Okay,
right. It's going to cost you money, but
it's good
we need new blood, right?
Yeah.
Because when I got in, all the old school owners then, I mean, they were real old school, like old 70, 80-year-old guys, and they were like, I remember in my first board of governors meetings, one of them was like, shut the fuck up, literally in this board of governors meeting. Shut the fuck up. You've never done anything in this NBA fucking league. Shut the fuck up. And then I called him by the wrong name, and because I just got there, and he got even madder, right? And so I was like, "Oops, my guy said that's not his name."
That's great, though. That's almost like you could do that on purpose, almost.
Oh, I wish I could have pulled that off.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. That's that's really, I think anything, any business. I'm realizing it specifically with the internet because I realize the only thing I know is the internet. I like
that's
sports,
just digital,
but
everything is digital.
Right.
Nothing is analog anymore.
And I'm waiting, and I think we're getting there and I never really thought about it till recently. The idea of I need the 70, 80, 90-year-old guys to pass the torch or die or move on because someone closer to my age gets that. It's not about being on a sitcom
it's
anymore.
Happen
it's
to
about
you
being
too.
on.
Yeah, it's going to happen to you
Yeah,
too. Right?
I know, but I feel like I'm more inclined. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'll get there and I'll just be old school and I'll dig my heels in.
No,
but I feel
you
like
can't.
I'm more inclined to.
No, I'm just telling you,
evolve.
Key to success is agility.
Yeah.
You got to always be willing to learn because shit always changes.
Yeah.
Like my dad used to say, you don't live in the world you were born into.
Right.
Right. I mean,
especially now it's going so fast.
Yeah. And like iPhone was 2007. So 16. So if you're older than 16, you lived in a world with no iPhones.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
And, no wireless broadband and shit. So stuff's always going to be changing, which means you got to always be learning. Because if you're not learning, it doesn't matter. You're stuck.
Yeah.
You're stuck. And that's where, and if you're learning and you don't change, then it's on you for not being agile. Right. So I tell curiosity, loving to learn, and being agile. If you're those three things, you're going to find a way.
Okay. I can check those boxes, I think.
Yeah. That's why you're here.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, I feel like I've always tried to, what do you think about being too early to stuff?
Shit happens. Yeah.
I feel like I'm always like, I was the first podcast at Barstool and I've done fine, but I never got that.
The first podcast I ever did was 1996.
Yeah, it's crazy. When like the real early adopters,
there's a show
right?
named Dan and Scott.
Really?
Right. If you ever Google the Dan and Scott show,
96.
It was a podcast like Barstool in 1996.
And what were they putting it out on?
On broadcast.com, an audio network. We weren't even broadcast. It was just audio. And they would stream the show live. And then we would have the archives of it. And you can just listen to it anytime.
Where'd they end up?
I have no idea.
Did they ever make
25 years ago.
Yeah.
No, they didn't make it.
I feel like it's almost, you never want to be late. I'd rather be early than late. But it's almost better to be the second or third or fourth or fifth.
Yeah, like I said, taking the air. I was just like,
yeah.
Look, if we hadn't fucked up with YouTube or Yahoo hadn't fucked up with broadcast.com, there'd be no YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing that YouTube did
so they kind of paved the way.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing that YouTube was doing in 2006, 2007, 2008 that we weren't doing in 1998. There's just
but what do you think? Like, was the market not ready for it? Was
no, not at all. Like we were dominating. We were a top 10. We were the largest multimedia. Broadcast.com. When we sold to Yahoo in 2000, we were the largest multimedia site on the internet. I mean, we were YouTube before YouTube, and then we sold to Yahoo, and then this internet stock market dropped. And they were like, oh, we got to get to profitability. And, we'd only lost our last public quarter. We lost like $1.5 million. It was less than $2 million. But they just started cutting costs and integrating everything. So instead of keeping us standalone like we were, they were like, no. And they cut everything. Everything. And it was on them.
It
wasn't on us.
Do you reach a point where, I mean, money-wise, what's another zero or another?
It's not going to change anything.
So for you, it's just about personal interest, determination, ambition, or is part of you like, I'm good, like I don't need anything new or anything more?
Being competitive, right? Business is the most competitive sport in the world.
Right.
You see it, who's coming in to be the next Barstool? How often do you hear that? Right? Pat McAfee doing his own thing now is part of us.
Fuck you, Pat.
Right, fuck you now. There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so it's competitive. And so that's why you come to work every day. So it's competitive. But I'm in a position now where it's not about my next dollar. That's why we started costplusdrugs.com. Right?
So,
we're literally fucking up the pharmacy industry.
Right.
I mean, we're having meetings where I'm just going, oh shit, if this works, it's like we're changing people's lives.
Are you thinking legacy stuff? I mean, you already have like a sports legacy, but if you were to be known as the guy who made pharmaceuticals available at the right price,
the guy who changed the pharmaceutical industry, right? The guy who changed healthcare. That's big shit.
That's huge.
Yeah, I mean, like having people come up to me now are like, oh yeah, I was paying $6,000 a month because I lost my thing and I was going to have to sell my house, and now I pay $61.
Jesus,
like literally people crying on me, like they might cry when the Mavs lose a game, or we win a championship, but like not every day, but every week, I'm hearing from somebody about how you changed my life.
And what exactly are you doing? Like subsidizing it somehow?
So costplusdrugs.com, what we do is when you go to our site, if you're having to get a prescription, right? So you put in Tadalafil, which is generic Cialis, right? And normally you were going to Hims or whatever, and you were paying $1 a pill, right? And you need your generic Cialis. Like on our site, you can get 90 pills for $8 plus shipping and handling.
Wow.
And so what we'll do is we'll show you our cost, which is let's say $7 and we'll show you our markup, 15%. And then if you buy it mail order, it's, an extra $10 for shipping and handling. And so you pay your $8 plus shipping and handling, but you know exactly what our cost is. And so we were the first ones to ever be transparent with drug pricing.
And are you just, those other guys are just, can drive a higher margin and they're just assholes about it? And you're just being...
It's not that they're assholes, right?
But they can, the market's the market.
Right?
But you're just...
We said we're just going to be transparent.
Wow.
Right. And so that's for like regular generic drugs. But then there's this thing called specialty generics, which are like cancer drugs and droxidopa, which are this other stuff. And so like I had a friend from Indiana email me, just freaked out because the cost of his drug, and I didn't even know what droxidopa was. I still don't. Because he lost his insurance, was going to go to $10,000 a month. So I go to our guys, can we get this medication? My buddy from Indiana, who's in this bad car wreck, needs this shit, right? He goes, let me check. I go back to him. I'm like, LT, $61 a month.
I mean, that is like...
But that happens all the time.
That's unbelievable. Yeah.
All the time, right? And so now we're working with companies, with millions of people coming in, and it's just like, we're going to go to costplusdrugs.com first. And now we're starting to have a retail pharmacy network, and you can pick your drugs up locally, and that's making us grow faster and faster and faster. But just being able to say, okay, I just saved your grandma, $200 a month,
Dude,
$300, $1,000 a year. That shit's big time.
That's lifetime shit.
So go to costplusdrugs.com.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's the kind of stuff I feel like, you want to win a championship. And that's the guy in you. But like,
world.
there's,
this is real world.
Did winning a championship, like, I feel like getting that one is huge.
It takes a lot of pressure off.
Yeah.
It really takes
Even
the
if,
pressure off.
I know it's been a little bit of a drought, but like, you got that one.
Got it out of the way.
Base is
I mean, it's like the Celtics, get close, but we got close, went to the conference finals, but haven't gotten over that hump again. But getting that one was sweet because sports are unlike any other business. Like Dave crushes it, sells it twice, right? Dave parties, Boston doesn't party.
Right.
Yahoo has the biggest quarter in the history of Yahoo, right? Or Yahoo. Google has the biggest history in the history of Google, right? Apple, biggest company. No one celebrates.
Right.
Sports. Your team wins a championship, the whole city's on fire.
It's
right. There's a parade. No one throws a parade for anything else.
Except
Nothing.
sports. Yeah.
Sports, right?
Yeah.
And then there's the sad, but crazy part of sports is like your kid's sick. They don't want it, the CEO of Google. Right. They don't want the CEO of Cost Plus Drugs. They want, their jersey from Tom Brady, from Luka Doncic, from Kyrie Irving. Right. That's who they look up to. And even, like Barkley said, I'm not a role model. Right. Mm-hmm. The reality is kids still look up to you.
Yeah. It's like, a good thing. I don't think you have to be a role model, but you are an icon of some sort.
Yeah.
Where it's
and social media too. Like if you, like when we were growing up and playing, you saw it on television, right? You watch it on cable, but maybe you saw some highlights on YouTube. That was it.
That's what.
Right. Now it's just like nonstop
in your face.
Like
yep.
7th graders. Watch the 6th grader just deal, right? Shoot a shot and turn away like he's,
kids in middle school are shooting from half court now.
Yes.
Like the game has literally changed now.
They just crazy. Now it's increased the skill level, right? But it's just changed how we look at sports.
Yeah.
And it's also changed, like, I grew up in Pittsburgh, diehard Pittsburgh fan for everything. Doesn't matter what the team. They invent a team, right? If there's a professional volleyball team, that's my team, right? But now kids are more into, okay, I'm a Luka Doncic fan.
Right. It's a player-driven league. Specifically the NBA, I feel like you follow guys around. And
because that's
so
wait,
when you did you still root for baseball, football, hockey, Pittsburgh?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Still to this minute.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I guess for the NBA, it's not like you had to pick. Yeah. That actually works out pretty well. Who do you think is more famous, Taylor Swift or Tiger Woods?
Oh, Taylor Swift.
I think so too. We were arguing about this on earlier, and some of the guys here think that Tiger still takes it, and I don't think he does anymore.
No.
Do you think at his peak, maybe he would at her peak now and his peak?
Still Taylor.
You think so?
Yeah. No one. Tiger's not selling 80,000 tickets to go see her one time.
She's on another level, man.
I got interviewed today, and someone was saying, "Well, this is just a PR thing, right?" I'm like, "Fuck no, she doesn't need more PR.
Right?
Like, that's a step down, right?
Totally.
She loses some control." And they're like, "You don't think this is like a contrived relationship?" I'm like, "Well, I hope it is." And I'm like, "Taylor, if you're listening, I've got all these young, hot guys who play for the Mavs. I'll hook you up. Come on down, right? I'll get you tickets right up front."
So I'm not sure who owns the Chiefs, but like, what do you?
Clark Hunt, he lives in Dallas.
So if you, Did you talk to him about it? Like, does he?
Not about this. No, no.
Like, if you got the call, how would that work? Would Taylor Swift
no, like when you get anybody
your
famous, right? So it might be
PR
Kevin Hart,
or
it might
whatever?
be Jamie Foxx, or maybe whoever, right?
Because but this is like
it's at a different level, but they're still at enough a level where you have to take precautions.
Got it.
Right, and so they're going to say, okay, security knows, come through this back door, we'll hook you all up. And for her,
basketball's tough. She'd be courtside, right? She'd be like,
she'd be right
there.
It's... But there's, you see a lot of superstars at games, so you would just give them a special entry. It's just like Patrick Mahomes is a Mavs fan comes, he hangs out on my seats and then goes back to the back. I have a little setup for him, or any other super famous people, and just to give him some security, and it'd be the same with her.
I'm worried about this Sunday. She's supposed to be coming to MetLife for the Jets, and
they're gonna give her so much shit.
And I think the booths or the suites are a little bit more removed, but it's gonna be a blowout, and Zach Wilson's gonna be sucking again, and the guys are gonna be drunk. I know.
She doesn't know who Zach Wilson is.
Shit, man.
She doesn't care.
I mean, I already knew she had it like this, but when she wore these red New Balances and they went up 500%, and Hidden Valley was doing stuff with the ranch, and it was...
And by the way, I put Hidden Valley Ranch Light on my salads, and no one's giving me a deal. Are you listening, Hidden Valley?
What I mean. Like that girl, she doesn't need to do anything anymore, but the same way you don't, you still are. That girl should... I mean, everything she wears, eats, uses should be like a business deal, or she owns it, or
it is,
like,
right?
I want equity in the shoes, the chicken fingers,
question.
the this, the that.
Unless she's making so much money, she just doesn't care.
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean,
but you know what? Touring is she made $1 billion, but she earns it.
Oh no!
Whereas like she needs some passive income to just make $1 billion that way, because touring every night is fucking insane.
Hard.
Like that you can't do that forever.
No, she gives a 3-hour show. Like I've been to a Taylor Swift show, and I actually met her. I've got my kids to meet her and everything. Super sweet. Like her dad's like a big Shark Tank fan. Like, cool. And she was like, yeah, da 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 da. One of those deals, right?
That's funny.
And actually, and she played at a party I did, a Super Bowl party I had. I don't even know how many years ago, 6-7 years ago.
Which, I mean, she was big. She's been big forever, but something happened.
No. Now, when you start filling out stadiums and you've got the Swifties, and she sets a great. I've got 20-year-old now and a 17-year-old daughters. She's a great example.
Yeah, right? Like you want her to be.
You want your kids to look up to her because she pays attention to life, right? She takes control of her own life. Mm-hmm. She doesn't, suffer fools. If you fuck with her, she'll fuck with you back, right? She doesn't.
I think that's actually what made the difference. I think the Scooter Braun situation
made a difference.
Was the best, worst thing for her personally, but professionally. Because I think what I've learned so far in the world now with politics, sports, everything, you can have fans, but not until you go through a controversy or a scandal where your fan base perceives you're being attacked or wronged.
Well, especially now.
Then they rally. Yeah, you almost want something a little bad to happen.
If it's something organic, right? If it's something organic,
right? You don't want to
will rally around you, right?
Like her being able to re-record is like this gift almost,
right? No, but it's
I'm sure she doesn't think that, but it also
no, it's smart,
yeah,
right? And that's the whole thing. You look at when she does stuff, it's like that's smart, right? Oh, that's smart.
Everything.
Right? That's the right moves. Like as a business guy, and I look at it, put aside the music, right? But when you look at the steps she takes, it's like, that's smart.
Yeah.
Right? And when you're organic like that, you're doing your own thing and you're doing it right and you're showing success, fuck yeah. You want your kids to look up to that. I look up to that.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little funny. She's already wearing the team colors and all that.
Yeah,
I feel like she should make him work a little more for her, but
So she knows, like I get this much of that, right? Mm-hmm. So I know if I go into public, kind of what the questions are going to be depending on where I'm at in the circumstances, right?
Yep.
And so if I go to a Mavs game and don't have Mavs, what's going on, right? And so she knows how to preempt those questions.
Yeah.
Right? So if I don't wear a jersey, well, okay. If I do, here's the question, and it's just easier if I do it this way.
You're right.
It shows support.
Yeah.
I don't have to deal with it. Now I know my fans are going to be into it. That helps his jersey sale. So even if we break up, I did something nice
good for
him.
Yeah, he benefited. At what point did you reach like or do you view yourself still as business owner, team owner, or are you now just like Mark Cuban, the celebrity, the personality?
I've always just been Mark Cuban.
Yeah.
Right. It's more like how you think about me is up to you.
Right.
But I do, but the reality is in this day and age, if I'm walking down the street in New York, cars are stopping and yelling and screaming.
Yeah. But there definitely was a time where you needed to be making like if you go off on some business endeavor right now and it fails, it's not that. It doesn't really matter, right? No. There was a time where you needed to be businessman first and like show that you
because there's not a lot of business guys people have heard of.
Right.
Just for me to be sitting here having this interview is weird.
Right. Yeah.
Because we were just saying, no one knows who the CEO of Google is outside of the industry, right? And so
why do I know you? Like how did you separate yourself? Was it social media? Was it
because it went from owning running the biggest multimedia site on the net. So that gave me a tiny bit, right?
Yeah. But still, like I wouldn't know that.
You wouldn't know me from then unless you were in technology. Then I bought the Mavs. And then when I bought the Mavs, and I was just getting fined every other day.
That's what it was, really, right? Like you were the bad boy.
I was the bad boy, right? I was younger than everybody.
Right.
I was raising hell, not giving a fuck. So everybody wanted to have me on.
Right.
So I was like the cool kid. So Jay Leno.
And you wanted to do that shit. If you wanted to be like in the shadows, you could have been.
I could have been, right? Yeah. But I just like the experience.
Do you think you would have made the same money and been the same success if you were in the shadows?
Yeah, because I had already gotten to that point.
Yeah.
Right. Because I'd sold and that's what made it interesting. I was young, obviously incredibly attractive.
But it was genuine. I think like. There's some people you're like, oh, that's like a show he's putting on.
No,
I'll
just be myself.
He fucking wants the Mavs to win, and he's pissed, and they're not, and he's mad at the league. He's mad.
And I was saying all the things any fan would say.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You're fucking us and this and that.
Yes.
And I was getting fined for it.
Right.
And no one other owner. The other owners hated me. So I was like the bad boy owner.
What were you? I think I would get fined on purpose. Was all
sometimes?
Genuine? Yeah, I would be like, fuck it, let's like 10 grand or whatever, dude.
Right. Like now, if I'm getting fined because I know why. Like we protest the game, you're not going to win that protest, but I get to say fuck you. Right?
Yeah.
It cost me 25 grand to protest, and that's fuck you.
Well worth it. I mean, what would a fine have to be for owners to really care? Like it would have to be like in the millions, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but no, it could be less than that because they add up because it's going to be more than one.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
But
but at the
quarter
same time,
of a mil here, quarter of a mil there.
Well, it's who you're writing the check to.
Yeah,
that's the part that you don't like.
What would you do in a situation like Harden with James Morey? Like if a player was that publicly,
I mean, you have to go to the root of it, right? And so it's not so much that the player is asking for a trade; it's why.
Yeah.
What happened? Because that's what you have to deal with.
Yeah.
The part that him asking for the trade is the easiest part of it because he's under contract now. If he's a free agent, that's different.
Right.
Right. But he's under contract.
I mean, I don't know the ins and outs, but like it feels a little bit like everywhere Harden's gone, there's been an issue.
Well, people said the same thing about Kyrie too, right?
Yeah.
And it's just getting to know the guy, and I like getting to know Luka, getting to know Kai. They're good people, right?
Yeah.
I like talking to Kyrie. He's really really interesting.
Right.
But you're not going to try to change his mind.
Yeah.
And once you realize that, and just say, Kyrie, you'd be you. You just play basketball. But I'm not going to lie. And I told him this. I'm like, look, you bounce from team to team and what followed you wasn't good.
Right.
Right. And, here's my position and here's where we stand. Here's where we agree, disagree. He was like, cool. As long as we talk about it, we're good. And he's a smart guy. He's not dumb. And so there's going to be circumstances like that, but you just got to figure out, what works for you and do you communicate? And when it gets to a point where a player is asking for a trade, that obviously there was a miscommunication somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
He had an expectation. That expectation wasn't met. Boom, shit hits the fan.
In a players' league, though, you think you can be like, fine, peace, you're out. Like nobody's bigger than my team.
Yeah, look at Ben Simmons.
Yeah, right. I mean, like, that's where
look at Dame. Right all the talk was that he was going to Miami.
Mm-hmm. They're gonna be a problem. Watch out, bud. So wait, have you heard about this Dave and Kyrie one-on-one? You gotta set this up.
Oh yeah, no, I did see because they were giving each other.
We gotta
shit.
Get this.
Yeah,
because Kyrie said he's in, but Dave will literally go play him one-on-one at the drop of a hat.
Yeah.
But Kyrie is like, yeah, we'll set it up. But listen, you want good press and good vibes for Kyrie.
And I said to Kyrie, he's just using you, Kai. He's using you.
But yes, absolutely. But I do think a guy like Kyrie Irving, what you just described, like I don't personally like the way he's acted and some of the shit he's done, and I've been motherfucking him, on my show. But if he played one-on-one with Dave and was kind of like, yeah, listen, this should happen, that should happen, but at the end of the day, this is how I think it would be good for him. I think that's the kind of moves that he almost needs to do.
Kyrie gets along with everybody.
Yeah, but I don't think that's his perception.
No, it's not. It's not right.
There's a big disconnect there. If that's who he is.
Like if you watch Kyrie after a game. There's guys who exchange jerseys. Dwayne Wade made a whole thing about exchanging jersey. Kyrie hugs guys and they give him a real hug back.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
There's bro hug, and there's
and
a
then
hug.
real hug. Yeah.
Yeah. And Kyrie gives and gets real hugs. He's got, when I talk to our guys when we made the trade, they have that respect. And I think that's where Kyrie is misunderstood a lot. But yeah, for him to play, I'll just tell you, when I saw that shit, I'm like, Kai, he's using you. And this is no lie.
Dude, they're texting. He said novel text.
No, I know.
Like,
I know.
Yeah.
I know. And I'm like, Kai, just do what I do. Just get a burner, fuck with them, and delete the burner.
Yeah, it's fun to play on that level. Once you kind of, were you ever like worried about your public persona, like your image?
Only with
like,
kids, like once my kids got older, when they were younger, not so much. But
your kids, not just
my
like
kids,
any, your own kids.
My kids, as they've become teenagers. Now my oldest is 20. Now it's a little bit different. But before that, fuck no, I don't give a fuck. Like I don't care what people think about me.
Yeah.
But I care what my kids think.
Yeah, I for sure feel that. I know you got to get going in a minute, but I do want to ask you what, you've been rich their entire lives, your kids, right? Like. And you want to spoil them.
As fuck. It is scary as fuck.
I want to give them everything, and there are things I want to make easy for them. But I'm like, a little bit of hardship would maybe go a long way
because
here.
They're not like when we're growing up. And I was telling this to my oldest daughter. I'm like, look, like I didn't know how I was going to pay for school.
Yeah,
I knew I was going to have to figure it out myself.
And she has never even considered that. Never even
thought
about thinking about.
She doesn't, and I'm like,
and how could she?
And look, and one side, I'm so happy that that's the case.
Right.
But on the other side, I'm like, okay, let's talk about what a budget is.
Yeah. Let's start with the very beginning of what it is.
Let me just show you the budget I had when I was going to, because I still kept it, right? The budget I had.
And I was thinking by the time my kids are 6 and 7, so I got a little while. And I was thinking,
let me just tell you how fast it goes.
Oh, it already is. I mean, I'm watching her do cartwheels on a balance beam right now. I'm like
that's insane.
What?
That's
like,
insane.
Holy shit.
You look at your kids go, how the fuck are they doing that shit? I would never do that. And then
it's crazy. I'm
and
like,
then you're like, oh, they're going to be a little bit alike. And I have 3 kids, and it's just like none of them are
like, yeah, totally different. I feel like by the time they're of college age, something has to happen with college. I feel like a bubble of
it's all fucked up.
I mean, if
I wasn't in
student
healthcare,
loans, just feeding, like it's just one big circular,
if I wasn't
we give
in
you a loan,
healthcare,
but then we raise tuition and it just keeps going.
No, it's because 2 things, right? One, it's easy money to borrow.
Yeah.
And so if it's easy to borrow money to go to school, if you're a school, what are you going to do? You're going to keep on raising prices.
Right.
Right. Now let's stop some because it's gotten harder and kids are getting smarter. And then the second thing, like I was talking to a bunch of rich people, right? They asked me to come and speak. And it was like this investment group. And I'm like, how many of you have given money to put your name on a building? And a bunch of them raised their hand. I'm like, fuck you. I'm like, literally.
You're part of the problem.
Yeah, you are the problem because those buildings, you think you gave enough to build it, but they keep on eating, right? You don't need the classroom for psychology, sociology, and business. They all just have the same chairs in them, right? And they all look the exact same shit, right? Yeah. You don't need a different building. Like I went to Indiana, like, well, why don't we do this building? That? No, I'm like, I'll give you some money. I'll do it for a multimedia school for new technology, but you can't put it in a new building.
I like
right.
That.
It's got to be in someplace existing, right,
Smart.
where you're using space. Because I'm not going to take responsibility for you raising tuition, right? It's insane to build more buildings.
It's just like building almost a billboard for your name.
Right.
And they pass that on to tuition.
Yeah, right. And so, I think it makes things worse.
Yeah.
And so all that's starting to really like implode. Like you look at West Virginia, they borrowed too much money and did all this shit. And now they're having to raise tuition. They're cutting programs. You're going to see a lot more of that.
I feel like a trade, like going back to like trade school or learn it like that.
It's not even so much that, like, because there's always going to be a need for some. AI can't fix your plumbing.
Right.
Right. Now, maybe it'll get more digital and it'll diagnose problems like they do in cars now.
Sure.
But
somebody's got to do it.
Someone's got to do it, and they will, and the price will go up till it hits a level where more people go to it, right? Because now you're paying more and more for those trades because there's not enough people to do them, right? And so when you're getting paid $200,000, $300,000 to be a plumber, you're going to get more plumbers, right? So that'll kind of take care of itself. But with AI and everything, people are going to have to learn more in order to not get caught. And the people who are going to lose their jobs aren't the highest level management or the lowest level. It's the people in the middle.
Yeah. Which is
And they'll
kind of the toughest almost in a way.
Yeah, and they'll be replaced by other jobs in just maximum numbers, right? So the 10 jobs lost here, 10 jobs created there, because AI is only as smart as the information that it's fed to it, right? So if you play with ChatGPT or Bard or the others, right, it gives you wrong answers, right? It hallucinates. And if you don't know the shit, like I tell my kids, I tell my kids, you can use ChatGPT all you want. Because you have to know
how to use it and know if it's
right.
right.
You have to know if it's right or not, right? So you've got to know the subject material.
Right.
But it's a great hack. Like I use it as a hack to save me on typing. You know, do this little business plan or whatever, write this up, and cut and paste, and I just correct it.
Smart man.
No, man, just looking for shortcuts.
So just give me, speaking of shortcuts, just give me like what? Let me get it on the ground floor, like seed level or something. What do you got cooking? Come on. I got a little money
Shark Tank
now.
is premiering right now, right? So let me do my pitch, right? We got some good shit coming on there. There's one company that is on the premiere episode on Friday. I don't know when this is going to get cut.
Probably be Tuesday.
Tuesday. Okay, so it just premiered this past Friday, and I invested in with Lori called Gatsby Chocolates.
Okay.
And like I always try to pay attention to my health, right? I'm always looking for cheats that work, right? So in the morning, I eat Alyssa's healthy cookies because they're low cal, high fiber, etc. But I always have a sweet fix. Like after I work out, I come home after I eat. And so like, what can I eat? Well, these guys came on and they've got real big chocolate bars like this that are like 180 calories. And I'm like, this can't taste good. And I'm like, oh.
Really?
So I'm like.
Not even like not good for. Like, oh, this is good for healthy food. Like, just good.
It tastes great.
Plain good, yeah.
Like, oh my God, I could eat 2 bars and not think twice, right? So it tastes great. It's only 180 calories for the sea salt version that I like, 210 for cookies and cream. And it's like not preserving. It's like for the whole bar. Because if you're like me, right?
They fuck around with the serving size and get you. When it was healthy, I'm like, oh, I just had 10 servings.
Right, yeah. It's like, what the fuck, right?
Yeah.
And so... So I'm just always going to eat the whole bar.
Yeah.
And that hits my sweet fix. And so we just got them all out to Walmart's. And so if you want to check them all out, it's called Gatsby's Chocolate.
Okay.
And that's like my new, like this shit's going to be big.
Okay. I want to get that B, man.
That's where you got to get lucky. But, having, when you got the 200, 300 where you're at, right?
Right.
Getting to 400 is like...
All right, we appreciate it, man. Everybody knows Shark Tank by now. How long's it been?
This is 15 seasons.
I was going to say 15.
Yeah, Friday nights.
That's become an American institution in its own right.
Crazy, isn't it crazy?
Yeah,
in the Pantheon, there's going to be Barstool, Shark Tank.
Listen, for you, you're either known as Mavericks, you're known as the business guy, you're known as Shark Tank. Any of those is a good thing to be. So the fact you got all 3 of them, brother.
I'm here, right? I'm here. I get to fuck around, have fun.
Yes, sir.
Fuck around and find out about Barstool, right?
Yes, sir. Thank you, man. We appreciate the time.
No, I appreciate it. You guys are great.
All right, big thanks for watching. If you made it through this whole episode, that means you should be subscribed. There's so many of you out there who watch and don't subscribe, so make sure you are a KFC Radio subscriber. Make sure you get all the content when it drops. Click that button now.
I have 9 fingers. I'm still subscribed. It's that easy.